Okay, and then we had a basic discussion yesterday, and this is one of the points that was made with by Elizabeth, amongst others, where we talked about mobility, and mobility being perhaps a factor limiting the participation of the diaspora in these kinds of partnerships. And there's sort of different perspectives and different interests, different approaches that are taken by receiving countries and by source countries in working together on activities of this kind. And one of the differences, or some of the differences being differences of interest. Africa focuses on human rights, remittances, labor, and mobility, while Europe's main interests are regulation, irregular migration, and return of refugees. If there's going to be a partner, you have to consider the different interests and the different approaches and make greater efforts to bring these interests together and address capacity building on both sides. Not only, right now we're talking about capacity building in source countries, but there's certainly a lot of capacity building also needed by governments in host countries in developing this partnership. Diaspora already builds bridges. A number of people have come up and said, well, we've been doing all kinds of projects in the field and they're not receiving enough attention. There's a lot of best practice out there that needs to be looked at. And the challenge lies in bringing existing efforts to the forefront and stepping up those efforts via increased organization. Top-down approaches don't work, apparently. Of the examples that I've heard, there have been approaches that have been initiated by the diaspora from the bottom up, and these are the kind of activities that need to be encouraged. There is a request for more research, greater data collection, to create information source to inform policy decisions, studies, evaluations, censuses. I had the impression that we were talking about the collection of a lot of quantitative data. What might also be interested are qualitative data that says something about how the diaspora is integrated, for instance, into host country labor markets, what educational levels are, qualitative data that gives us a better overview of the resources that are within the diaspora. We've also got some interesting research being done in places like Ghana and other places, and perhaps it would be useful to bring the research from both sides together and have a closer look at that where we're developing particular activities. Awareness-raising campaigns on the part of the EU about the strategic partnership, get the word out there, and initiate